like to call this September 8th, 2022 Dickson County Planning Commission meeting to order. Mr. Qualls, would you give devotion, please, sir?
These are British friends that they mourn the loss of their queen, Father. Strengthen and have them look to you and your word for guidance. Preaching all these things that we play in their holy and most righteous name this time. Amen.
Amen. And we are, I guess, live streaming tonight. So please, when you speak, turn your mics on. Mr. Darnell, would you call roll?
Here.
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 Robert Comer.
Here.
Chairman, we do have a quorum.
Thank you. And as I turn my phone off, as always, please silence your phones. Like to recognize all visitors in the crowd. And if you have not signed in, please do so here at the front. I guess you call that a podium. What is that? Front desk area. All right. Everybody looked over the minutes of the previous meeting. Okay. Like them, dislike them, what you will.
Last meeting be approved as they were presented to us.
Have a motion to approve by Robert Qualls. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second by David Brogdon. All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass. All right, we'll move into item number 1, which is the final plat for re-subdivision of lot 20 of section 2 Lakeview Acres subdivision, tax map 111L, parcel 6.00, 0.98 acres, Preston Drive and Allen Road, Burns, Tennessee, R1 residential. This will be the 11th district.
Okay, this was surveyed by XL Land Company, redividing lot 20 of section 2 of Lakeview Acres. Shane said this subdivision is zoned R1 and is serviced by the Water Authority of Dickson County for both water and sewer. I do have confirmation from Michael Rogers that there are no issues providing for either one. Amanda?
Thank you. I only had one comment, and that was to just make sure that the applicant realizes that part of that subdivision is going to result in a corner lot, and just to be mindful that the setbacks will be different from one lot than the other. Thank you.
Thank you. Our 11th district representative does not appear to be here. What is the will of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that the re-subdivision of the lot in question 6 here in Lakeview Acre subdivision be approved as submitted with stipulation mentioned by staff to annotate that one lot's a corner lot and the other lot is not.
Okay. I have a motion by Robert Qualls to pass the re-subdivision of lot 20, section 2 of Lakeview Acres with staff comments. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Have a second by Gary Peeler. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Okay, we'll move into item number 2, which is the zoning changes, and we will vote to move these forward to the county commission, which will be we'll do these in 2 separate votes,
Yeah.
but section A will be 504-1 A1 agriculture, and B will be section 3030 road frontage.
Okay, the first one, the changes to section 5.041. These are all changes that were agreed to by the ad hoc committee. And basically under number 4, it changes the land area. It will change from a 1 acre minimum to 1.5 acres. Then number 5, the lot width at building setback will change from 100 feet to 150 feet. That's the first change.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to reiterate for those members that weren't here last month that the ad hoc committee was formed with three county commissioners, Commissioner Petty, Commissioner Dawson, and Commissioner Williams. Three planning commissioners, myself, Beth Garrett, and Todd Berry, who aren't here tonight, unfortunately, and two members of the community. So what's before us tonight is very similar to what we passed already, but it now has gone through that ad hoc committee process, and which got the county commission's input on it. So what's before us tonight is the result of that compromise process. And so I wanted to make sure everyone knew that before we voted on it.
Mr. Comer, I'd just like to thank that committee for putting in the extra hours on this. I know it's a very delicate subject. With that, I would recommend to move this forward to the county commission, section A.
Do
I
we
have
need a
second?
vote? Yeah, yes, I'll second you, And do we need a roll call on this since it's a change of
We will
ordinance?
do a roll call on this.
All right,
Yes.
then I propose that as well.
Have a proper motion by Shane Chandler to move this section A 504A1 agriculture forward, and a proper second by Robert Qualls. Any further discussion in this? If not, we'll do a roll call.
Tina Ferris,
Approve.
Darren Green,
Approve.
Mike Pilkington,
Yes.
Robert Qualls,
Aye.
David Brogdon,
Yes, approve.
Jeff Chase,
Okie dokie.
Shane Chandler,
Yes, approve.
Gary Peeler,
Yes, approve.
Robert Comer.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And now, Mr. Darnell, will you go over section B, please?
Second part is changes to section 3.030, and that's the addition of subsection E. And basically what this states is lots must front for a distance of at least 150 feet on existing county roads or highways. And this was also one of the suggestions the ad hoc committee did come up with.
Once again, I'll move that we move this forward to the county commission. Shane Chandler with the motion.
I'll second.
Have a second by RJ Comer. Any further discussion in this matter? If not, we'll go for a roll call vote.
Tina Ferris,
Approve.
Darren Green,
Approve.
Mike Pilkington, Robert Qualls, David Brogdon,
Approve.
Jeff Chase,
Approve.
Shane Chandler,
Approve.
Gary Peeler,
Approve.
Robert Comer.
Yes.
Motion carries. They will both go to a public hearing at the October, the regular county commission meeting.
Okay, we'll now move into item number 3, which will be a public hearing of the delegation of minor subdivision. Approval of 4 lots or fewer per Article 2, Section 2-101A. And I think that's 4. I'm a little rusty on my Roman numerals.
It's for, yeah, it is.
Not
this-
from Rome,
yeah.
sorry.
It's fine. This is what this does will revise the subdivision regulations, Article 2-101.202A, from 2 lots to 4 lots. Andrew's here, as you know, back in July. This was brought before you to approve the 2, and it was sent on to the county commission, and they did approve it for 4. Andrew?
Thank you, Mr. Darnell. Very briefly, and obviously, if you have any questions, ask me. But if you recall, in July, we were addressing a situation under new state law that was passed in May that required both the governing body and the planning commission to delegate authority for minor plat approval at the staff level. It's been done for decades here and everywhere around here. So it was a pause that had to go on that process until that delegation occurred. This body approved up to 2 lots to be approved by staff. The county commission, which met after the July 14th meeting here, approved up to 4 if this body were to amend its subdivision regulations. So I guess that's what's before you tonight, is seeing if this body is willing to go up to 4 for staff approval. State law authorizes up to 5, but the county commission only authorized up to 4, and that's all that's being proposed tonight. This is all in accordance with law. See no issue with this change. It's just the will of the body if they want to allow staff to approve subdivisions of 4 lots or less.
Thank you, Mr. Mills.
We also need to have the public hearing at some point.
Right. Yes, yes.
All right. You heard what Mr. Mills presented. We will now have a public hearing and then we will go into discussion on moving this forward. Is there anybody here to speak for or against this action? Is there anybody here to speak for or against this action? Is there anybody here to speak for or against this action? Okay, seeing that there is none, we can now take a vote. And just my personal opinion is I think it'll clean up a lot of minor stuff that we've looked at in the past that Mr. Darnell could take care of.
That was my question, Mr. Chairman. Is there any reason why we need to continue to look at 3 and 4 lot subdivisions? We've done a lot of it and we're not so slammed that we couldn't do it, but is there just doing it to be doing it is not something I'm all that hipped on.
And this was approved by the county commission by a 12-0 vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it just, it would lessen our agenda and it may cut out a few meetings, but in my opinion, it
Well-
possibly could save the county some money and
Yep.
something Mr. Darnell could do in-house.
By definition, these will all be minor subdivisions, right?
Yes.
I don't see being a stick in the mud about it myself, but again, I'll defer to the judgment of everybody else, but that's what I'd say.
Mr. Comer? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
It certainly would expedite things to have minor subdivisions done at the staff level. However, with the changes in the code that's coming in and the pressures for subdivisions and for development in our county, I think that the public wants those four lot subdivisions to come before us so that we can discuss it in public. So we can bring the experience we now have with all of what we've done here to bear on some of those. And so I think that because of that, and because of the public really looks to us to make sure that the subdivisions that are approved are vetted, not just for compliance with the code, but also for the benefit of the county, the people of the county knowing that we are looking at on their behalf. And that's not to say they wouldn't trust staff, but I think there's a benefit to having 4 lot subdivisions done in a public manner and not done administratively, at least as we go through these changes in the code and as we go through these this growth pressure. There might be a time when things are more set that it might be a good idea. But as it stands right now, I think 2 lots is perfectly good for administrative review, but 4 lots, I'd still like to see myself. I'd like to see them come to this body for our deliberation. And that's why I would say no to this.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
Could
Mr. Qualls.
we like leave it with 2 for 12 months and then automatically readdress it and see what the implications of that have been? I don't have a problem with doing that. I don't want to act like we're trying to slap the county commission down when they've been working with us, but I think Mr. Comer's saying a valid thing there very much. I mean, I'm not in the city limits of White Bluff, but I'm in that district, and talk about heartburn over planning and zoning. It's there. So just as sort of an outside observer of that, I think there's some validity to what he's saying. All right.
Okay. Anybody else?
Do we have an answer to council? Do we know if this has to be sent back to the county commission for a new public hearing? If we set it aside, like Mr. Qualls has asked for 12 months to review?
Good question. So if I may, just a couple quick points. Plats have minimum requirements, whether it's this body looking at it or staff. I think transparency could certainly be one of the issues, Commissioner Comer, you've raised, but it shouldn't change the result of if they get approved or disapproved. You're meeting minimum requirements. It sometimes gets looked at by council, town planner, of course, Director Darnell. To be clear about what the county commission did, their resolution authorized the 2 and up to 4 if this body determines it's appropriate and necessary to go up beyond 2. You could do 3, you can do 4. Can't go above 4 right now. You'd have to go back to the county commission if you want to go to 5. And that's the maximum under state law. So this is entirely within this body's jurisdiction at this point, and it can only be changed through the subdivision regulations, if that makes sense. So, it's plats are interesting animals. Obviously, the bigger ones have more concerns. Smaller ones usually have less concerns, which is why they're typically handled at the administrative level. Where that line is for this body to decide. Right now, it's 2. Asking for 4. You don't have to, Commissioner Qualls, to your point, you don't have to approve this with a delayed implementation. At any point, this body can say, hey, it's been a year, it's been 18 months, it's been 5 years. Let's go up to 4 now. So there's no limitation on that. This is an open-ended resolution from the county commission on whenever y'all feel you want to change your subdivision regulations, you can. That simple.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Yes, Mr. Brogdon.
So if I understand this correctly, if we defer a change right now, so we can look at what Mr. Comer is suggesting, that we look at and how it's being implemented, these changes that we're making, it'll give us a better understanding in a year as to whether or not we need to make it 4, 3, or ask the county commission to go back to 5. Is that right?
That is correct. And just procedurally, if you defer, it's going to go to next month. If you table it, we would table it until somebody on this body says, bring it back up. Now we have to advertise it. So we would ask for plenty of notice to get it. I mean, you could do it in a meeting like this and say, hey, I think we're ready. Go advertise it for next month. It's probably the best way to handle it. But yeah, I would probably handle it that way.
My personal opinion on this is, we look to staff for guidance. I feel Mr. Darnell he provides us what we need to know to fill in the blanks. And there will be some developments that are small, but it's big to the people doing it and it's costing them money. I'm all for not exceeding 4 lots in house. Like I say, before we had the 2 lots, there were several people called me to get 2 lots through because it was costing them money to not get it closed out. So with that being said, I wouldn't vote to defer it upon my end, but I'm not steering anybody any other way. Like I say, it's not like it's 4 lots, which is a big deal, but any more than that would have to go before us, and we look to staff's guidance is my only comments. Oh, yes, sir. Mr. Chase, sorry.
I decided to put my butt in the seat because I thought it's time to get involved and, try to help and learn and to give some guidance and everything else. And I feel sort of the same way. Dickson, to me, I've been here now for 20 years, is at a rather critical point. Obviously, we can all see the growth. We can see that it's going to probably continue. It's going to expand. It's going to get worse in some regards. And I think now is the time really to be cautious. And I don't mind coming to an additional meeting or two for something that might have been rubber stamped 4 lots, et cetera. Because I think there is a little bit of caution to be exerted and to be also transparent to some people in the county who have the same feeling of they want to make sure that we make the right decisions one way or the other. And so I also would be hesitant to, like I say, rubber stamp 4 at this moment. I'd rather leave it alone for a year, come back to it and see, and maybe things are going swimmingly, or maybe we were wise to make that decision because there have been some things go through that maybe should have had discussion that cascade. And so I think just under an abundance of caution, that's where I would be also.
Thank you. Now, let me clarify this, Mr. Mills. Since the county commission has put forth a resolution to approve 2 up to 4, they could still override our ruling, correct?
I don't think they'd be able to override your ruling if the subdivision regulations were changed. But they could shrink it back at some point if you don't act.
Okay.
I don't know for sure. That's just my initial, right now, there's a resolution that says you can go up to 4 if you choose to change your subdivision regulations. I think it'd take a lot for the county commission to take that back up and say, no, we want 3. But your point is well taken in that it's just authority. As long as there's authority and it can be taken away. I don't imagine it will, but it can.
Thank you. Okay. Any further discussion in this matter?
Well, is anybody interested in it being just 3, which would be cutting 2 lots off of one big existing tract? That doesn't seem very subversive or destructive to me, but again, I defer to the wisdom of everybody else. But we'll split the difference and do that and still look at it in a year or 18 months.
We need a motion to take action.
We'll do a roll call to do it and
We
send
need
it
a
to be.
motion in a second.
Yeah, we'll need a motion and a second on some type of action, and then we'll do a roll call.
4 or 3.
Whichever somebody chooses to.
Well, if you lose, I'll move that we move it up to 3 lots
Not second.
is my motion.
Okay, I have a motion by Robert Qualls to limit it to 3 lots in-house, and second it by David Brogdon. Do I have any other discussion in this matter? And in all fairness, I'd like to ask you to invert the roll call.
Okay. Robert Comer,
Yes.
Gary Peeler,
Yes.
Shane Chandler,
Yes.
Jeff Chase. David Brogdon,
Yes.
Robert Qualls,
Yes.
Mac Pilkington,
Yes.
Darren Green,
Yes.
Tina Ferris.
Yes.
Motion passes at 3 lots.
Thank you. Okay, we'll now move into other business, be the road dedication for Inverness subdivision. Inverness Estates subdivision.
All right, this Inverness subdivision, for most of you that don't know, it's off of White Bluff Road before you get to Highway 96. It's been around since 2005, so it's one of the older subdivisions. It's finally been built out and all roads have been completed. You'll see in your packet, you've got a copy of the maintenance bond. Some of the packets didn't have the actual letter from Joseph. I do have copies of that if you'd like. But it is built out to the county standards and he's wanting to dedicate it at this time. And if you vote yes on this will forward this to the county commission for approval.
Mr. Chairman, I do want to point out, it's remarkable that the total length of these 3 roads together is 59/100ths of an inch.
That's yeah.
Thank you for the
I
point.
I would move we approve them, assuming that is actually mileage.
It is.
Otherwise, no.
It is.
Okay.
That was a
All right.
typo on
Okay.
All right.
I have a motion by Robert Qualls to approve the road dedication for Inverness Estate subdivision. Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second by David Brogdon. Any further discussion?
I have one question, Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
I
Mr.
just want to
Comer.
confirm that our staff have looked at the dedication and the improvements of the road and they meet
Yes,
all the
the
county
highway
requirements.
department. There should be a letter from the highway department. They have, yes. If you remember, this is the one that we had issues with the cul-de-sac. And we
Yeah.
met with the attorneys, and different things a while back. And
I
it took a
do.
while, but we have finally got everything correct on it.
Great. And you're satisfied that the amount of the bond?
That was
Is-
set by the highway department. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? All those in favor state aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. All right. Anybody else have anything before we conclude this meeting? If not, the next scheduled meeting will be Thursday, October the 13th, 2022. Motion adjourned.